As promised, we've got the February jobs number. Brian Sullivan's at the stock exchange. Brian, how'd we do?
We did a little bit better than expected. Came in at 227,000 jobs created. That's a little bit better than the Wall Street consensus. The unemployment rate held steady at 8.3%. Average hourly earnings came in line. I think probably the best news that I've seen on the headlines is that the January number was revised up by about 50,000 jobs to 284,000 jobs. So again, a little better than expected in February. January was revised higher. Yeah, unemployment at 8.3, but you guys know the nuance of the unemployment rate, right? We almost want to see it go up a little bit before it goes down because it means that more people are looking for a job. So a slight uptick in that might not have been a bad thing because you want to get people re-interested in the job market, but not a bad number, and futures are indicating a higher open.
And Terry, the Obama administration will point out this is the third consecutive month you've had a jobs number 200,000 or higher. Now, it doesn't make up the ground of all the jobs we've lost yet. You need more people with the amount coming into the workforce.
And getting closer to 4 million private sector jobs created since he became president. I mean, it's a great story. We're continually creating jobs every single month. In comparison, when he became president, under former President Bush, 700,000 jobs a month were being lost when he was leaving office. Great trend, moving in the right direction. This is very good news for America.
Lawrence, you look for a number around election time. Do you get into that, an unemployment number that helps the president?
It's going to be 8. It's going to begin with an 8.
Yep.
And we're going to set a new record of, you can't get reelected or elected president,
right.
With reelected president with a number like that. He's going to get reelected with a number like that because I think, Americans, without formally sitting down and taking economics classes about this, have come to realize the basics of this, the time it takes for this kind of movement. I think they do realize how deep the hole was by February, by a couple of weeks after the president being sworn in. And even when we went back, I think one of the more interesting stories of last year is when we went back into the data and we discovered, oh, you know what? It was actually worse. Was worse than we thought. And I think that story actually is a story that made sense to voters because no matter how we described it, I think they were living out there in a world where it was actually worse. So when you come back to them and say, here's the statistical data that shows us it was worse, that sensation of just how far we had to climb out and how long that would take, I think makes sense to 51% of voters.
That's all you need. Brian, go ahead.
Guys, listen, I'm not going to throw water on the number. Like you said, anything with a 2 handle, 200-something thousand is good. But we're going to need 300,000 and 400,000 jobs a month created to get back to where we were at this rate of job creation. It will take us a decade to get back to pre-recession employment levels, still 14+ million unemployed and millions more underemployed, people who are working 30 hours a week with no benefits but want a full-time job with benefits. So I'm not throwing water on the number. It's a good number. The markets like it. But at the same point, we need to start seeing 300,000 and 400,000 jobs a month created to really make a dent in the millions of unemployed people out there.
But, Brian, we know the rate will change. We know that the rate of increase will change. It's impossible for this economy to keep a number like that absolutely flat over a significant period of time. So that it's a nice classroom exercise to say if the rate never changes, it will take 10 years. It's not going to take 10 years because the rate will change.
I hope you're right that it will change. But if you look at the unemployment data and dig into where the jobs are actually open, there's a lot of manufacturing jobs that are open and not a lot of new hires. I know you guys have talked about the skills gap. We need to make sure that the people who have been unemployed for a year or more are able to fill some of those jobs. The jobs that have been created largely are coming from the services sector. For example, a lot of manufacturing workers losing their job, let's call it making $20 an hour with benefits at the plant, are now working maybe at a night desk at a local hotel, making $12 an hour and maybe don't have any or lesser benefits. So we need not only to get those jobs back, but to get people back to the jobs that they had before at the same wage scale and, more importantly, with the benefits that they had before.
Good perspective on that number, Brian. Thanks so much. Terry, your plants, we talked about it last segment in Mississippi. Something like 1,000 jobs by the end of the year.
Full production, and that is, we've broken ground in a massive plant in China, but we're going to make the engines and powertrains all here in the United States of America, and we'll do 300,000 units at full production, 2,000 jobs in America, 2,000 there. Win-win situation. But he's exactly right. We got a long way to go just to keep up with population growth. But I got to tell you, this is good news. Anything 200,000 plus is very good news for the president. First of all, the American public, they like President Obama. And you know what? They see movement going in the right direction. They're happy with that. And the other side's really not offering an alternative. This, I think, is very good news.
Terry McAuliffe, job creator.
That's
how many jobs did you create at way too early?
We have a staff of 3, so 3. Yes. 3 people put that show on the air.